Well, hi guys. Ugh. I look I look a mess. I haven't been to sleep in like 2 days. I've been up for 2 days. You know, with the stress of my husband being in that car accident, and we're only gonna get like $3,000. We're fucked, basically. And they're gonna be taking the $1,000. Oh, well, I do like my hair. Looks amazing, velvety. But anyways, I don't mean to get sidetracked, but you know, I'm dealing with a lot of issues, you know. And I'm an honest person. What you see in my videos, you know, it's just me living my little life with my husband and my dogs. You know, I like to share the fact that I'm a spiritualist, psychic medium. My specialty is channeling the dead, channeling your loved ones. I do, basically, it's not like I do a show or anything, but basically, you know, psychic Sylvia Browne, you know, I was a huge fan of hers, and I got to meet her in person back in 2011, and you know, if I knew she was gonna die within 3 years, I would have volunteered on the two dates close to Philadelphia, PA. But you know, she burned herself out. She did too much psychic work. And I mean, she did 20 readings a day, you know. That's and you know, 30, 40, 50 city tours, you know. It's like what Madonna would do, you know. You know, she would do a 2-hour and an hour and a half to 2 hour spiritualist teaching, you know, talking about ghosts or angels or archangels or, you know, past lives and everything like that. And then she would answer, you know, everybody would get a ticket. And if they called your number, she would answer your question. And I was such a huge fan that I got an autographed photo of Sylvia Browne. Well, actually, I have 3. The one's really nice. It's a big poster that I had made up at Walmart Photo Lab, and she signed it, and it's like 11 by 14 inches. It was just really nice to see. I looked up to Sylvia Browne, you know, and basically, I'm not saying I am Sylvia Browne, duh. You know, what I'm saying is I'm using her as an example, you know, how I can help you guys. I'm doing a special, $29 for a 30-minute reading. We can do it live through Facebook. You know, if you're my friend, you know, on Facebook, we could do it live. You know, I take PayPal. You know, $29 for 30 minutes is a very, I mean, for honest to God, I've worked you know, trying to help people. I was on the phone with people for 3 hours and I just got paid $45. That's how much I want to help other people, the living and the dead. I help crossover souls that need my help. And since I'm into true crime, documentaries and TV shows, well, what do you think's coming to me? I met Jeffrey Dahmer. I met his victims. That's a whole video. I met John Wayne Gacy. Charles Manson. When Charles Manson died, within the first couple of hours, a day or two after he died, he was in my house. He tricked me. He tried to show me that he was all love and light and peace and everything. He kept showing himself as this 1970s version, and then he was tying it to how old he was when he died. You know, and I know, that Charles Manson, you know, he had his followers. It basically turned into a cult. He had them go kill Sharon Tate. And I want to tell you guys that not only did Charles Manson come to me, I sent him to another friend's house that was also interested into speaking with him. And she confirmed that she felt his energy around her. And what happened is, I'm a psychic and medium. So even a good soul, a dead person, can jump me, meaning take over my body and speak through me, because I'm a clear channel. I'm a deep trance medium, which means I can either remember it. It's like if somebody was driving my car and I'm sitting in the back seat, you know, and I've been doing this since I was a child. I mean, I have 6 journals of just ghost stories of my life. I want to tell you guys, do you see my door right there? That's my litter box. You know, my little litter box that I basically made out of a tote, okay? I was cleaning my litter box and I heard 3 knocks on my door over here. I heard 3 knocks, 3 bangs on my door, and that's my balcony and porch. And I ran up the stairs in a half a second screaming because I heard bang, bang, bang right on my door. I thought there was I thought there was an actual people on my porch, you know, because it's crazy. But that's what happens. I want to let you know that Sharon Tate, her soul is tied to that guy that is showing his house, you know, David Ormond, or if I'm getting his name wrong, but he's 200 feet away from the original property, okay? So when he built his property, he didn't know, he didn't first know about the murders. And then he remembered hearing something about Cielo Drive, where, you know, basically where the murders just happened right next door. Him and his dad start building his house. The next thing you know, we're watching season 3 of Ghost Hunters, And they're at his house. You know, the Taps Ghost Hunters is at his house with psychic medium Chris Fleming, and you hear this horrible soul cry out, and that was Sharon Tate. And she took me over. I felt, this is what happened. I got slammed up against the wall. My head went like that. My eyes rolled in the back of my head. Basically like a temporary, I was temporarily possessed, basically. It's a channel. I said to her, I said, "No, Sharon, please don't take me over." But she needed to show me what happened to her. I actually relived the last seconds of her life. I felt every stab wound it took. I was screaming. I could only get my husband. I'm like, "Oh my God, Paul, help me, help me." I totally flipped out. And I mean, I was on the phone with my friend Damon, and I flipped. And she took me over, and I had no control. And I was everything that happened to Sharon, all the stab wounds. Well, first, you know, her son, Tex, he stuck her in the stomach with a knife and twisted it and stuck her baby, and killed her baby. And then the women started stabbing her. And I relived all of the emotional, physical. I felt stab wounds all over my body. I was vomiting. I was actually wanting to vomit on the floor. If you guys would have seen this camera, what we're going to do is we're putting up cameras all through our house, because I want to show you guys when something happens with me psychically. You're going to be shocked, as I'm really fucking shocked, the stuff that can happen to me. And I just want to let you guys know that I did recently discuss on my Facebook page, there was a guy, okay, Taylor Johnson, okay, I think he was from North Carolina, okay, he was from the South. His mother was friends with me, but I never talked to her. You know, I called her when her son came to me, and I said, "You know who I am, you know what I can do." And she said, "Vanessa, just tell me." And I was shaken, because he was channeling he was channeling how he was murdered, you know, also. And where his remains are. And I actually have, I called the homicide detective. I had so much information psychically that when I called Crime Stoppers, she just had me go to the homicide detective. But what happened is the mother flipped out. She was accepting what I told her, and she's like, "I already know that he's dead. I already know that he's dead." And he got back on meth, crystal meth. And what happened to him was they were partying, him and his so-called friends, and they got very high, and there was an argument over money, okay, and they jumped him, And not only is he having like an overdose of drugs, he's being, they're covering up his murder. They killed him. 4 people were involved. You know, the 2 men that killed him, the 1 woman that's seen, and a 3rd friend that, a 3rd male was a friend. It's crazy. I'm not trying to jump, you know, through. You see how my voice is starting to change? This is what happens. But anyways, it's just really sad. I'm not trying to put her information out there, but, you know, this guy knew that I could call his mother and tell him, you know, basically, I could see him, I could hear him, I could feel him, and, you know, basically, calling out from the dead, you know, and it was just a really, I mean, I was crying on the phone with her, I mean, because of everything you feel, the emotions, everything. And, she called the homicide detective and basically said that I was a crazy person, basically. And then the homicide detective didn't want to even talk to me. And all I did is say, you know, I'm calling about Taylor Johnson. Please, I have information on his death. Could you please call me? And I gave him my phone number. What homicide detective would not call if you got a voicemail just like that? I didn't say anything about me being psychic. I just said I had information on his death. And he didn't contact me, you know. And she was talking about calling the police, and she kept wanting to blame the murder on his ex-girlfriend's father. That's not who killed him. That's not who did it. And I'm just trying to put a little bit of information out there. And once I calm down and actually get more sleep and rest, I can sit down and channel him. But I gotta be careful because of what can happen. You know, it's just really sad. It is. It takes a toll on me. You know. But, the one thing I wanted to say is that guy that built his house, you know, right by the property, David Orman, or I'm getting his last name wrong, but you know who I'm talking about. He was on Ghost Adventures. He was on, you know, TAPS, Ghost Hunter. He's on 15 different paranormal programs. You know, and he kept, I had a friend, I had a friend that I met online, okay? And she's a psychic, and she's a psychic medium and an exorcist. And, you know, she would exorcise. She was taught, but when she was having problems, basically like me, there was a priest that taught her what to do and how to take care of the situation. Basically, what she taught me to do. How to protect myself. How to protect, put salt around your property, but you don't want to put salt around just regular table salt, You just got to make sure that there's nothing on the property. And you got to realize that there's no land. There's no land that's brand new. Meaning, it's not like a new car. You buy the land, I mean, obviously, the land has history. You don't know what's on it. You know. And, he first started out just explaining what happened, you know, and the haunting and everything, and Sharon, and he kept saying that he was helping her. He is basically soul raping the dead. He basically, I would call it like soul raping. He is using the dead, paying $175 per ticket for, you know, basically over $100 to have people come in his house to tour. And then he has t-shirts, he has merchandise, he has t-shirts and hats that say, "I survived the David Ormond house." I mean, come on. What he did was he tied Sharon to him soul. Basically, he tied Sharon Tate. He tied Sharon Tate to him. She cannot cross over. She can't cross over into the light. To go over to the afterlife, into heaven. She can't cross over at all. She can't. Because every time she tries, she's smacked back like a rubber band. But everybody that was murdered on that property is attached to him and his house. And you know what? I was so upset, you know, because of channeling Sharon Tate. I wanted to actually try to find her sister, you know, and I don't have money for a detective, you know. And I just wanted to help her, you know, and it's just horrible. And I would never do that to somebody. And he says he's trying to help Sharon. He's using her. You don't use the dead for fame. You don't use the dead to get rich. The work that I do, helping souls, helping them cross over, you know, trying to channel their messages to their loved ones. A lot of that work is free. And I would like to work on more cases. Like a psychic detective, you know. Because not only can I pop in, like basically, not only can I be the victim, but I can also flip and be the murderer, you know, duel, you know, say what happened as the victim, you know, and then say what happened as her killer. This is amazing conversation that we're having. Just me trying to walk back and forth. Just trying to throw out nuggets of information. You know, I'm not trying to cause any harm to anybody. I actually really did try to help Taylor Johnson's soul. And, you know, he had an entity. He had what you would call a demonic type of energy attached to him. So when I started helping him, I didn't know that. Okay, and then I found out, and they both were trying to attach to me. It was really bad. It messed me up for several months mentally, you know, physically. It was horrible. You know, it was like, what could go wrong, you know? He was so upset that I couldn't get his mother to listen. You know, it's just so messed up. But, you know, it's just sad. And you know, we're dealing with a lot right now with my husband getting in that car wreck. You've seen the videos. They could have been dead. The guy was arrested. You know, the guy was arrested for DUI. You know, at a four-way, hit my husband. My husband was coming home from Walmart. I was waiting for him to call me, because he would normally call me to, you know, grab a few things. He said, my husband called me and said, I was in a car accident, and the other car flipped, and the people crawled out begging me not to call the police, and that's pretty fucked up. And it's just messed up. But we're trying to deal with what we can get from the car insurance, which is not a lot of money. We're lucky if we're going to get We're lucky if we're going to have $3,000, basically. We're going to be real lucky we're going to have that. And what I want to quickly talk about Sharon Tate is that the bathing suit that she was in, there was pregnancy photos that there was a photographer friend of hers there taking, you know, shots of her being pregnant, you know, a couple of days before the murders, you know, and like 2 weeks, it was either 2 weeks or it was like a couple of days, you know. And what happened was, Charles Manson wanted to become a singer, okay? And he wanted to be famous. And, you know, and what he did, you know, what he did to these people, you know, they were all on LSD, acid, you know, and he would, I mean, it's just, basically, it's crazy. I told, my friend that I was getting help from. She was helping me. She's like, I tried to tell David, and he didn't want to listen to me. And I emailed David, and he didn't contact me at all. Why? Because he wouldn't be making any money. Because I basically told him that was horrible. What you're doing. You know, I just want to let you guys know that Charles Manson was on the property and actually looked Sharon Tate into her eyes as the guy, photographer, seen this scraggly guy walk up on the property and basically, he was on the property, and then, I mean, that's crazy, you know, but, and Lisa, my friend, Lisa, hi honey, I'm not saying any of your information, but thank you for all of your loving help, and all of the PDF files of, teaching me what to do to protect myself. Thank you, honey. But she said, I talked to David because she went in his house to try to help him, and he wouldn't listen. He was into the fame and the shock value. He kept saying he was trying to help Sharon. He just wanted to use her. And you know what? Lisa said to him, when Manson dies, it's going to be really bad for Sharon Tate. It's going to make everything 1,000 times worse on her. They're stuck in their death state, reliving the video loop. It's like it's like the murder, and then like everything that happened, and then start again. It's horrible. They have no rest, the souls. Once Charles Manson, once Charles Manson went to the property of David Ormond, Sharon Tate and Jay Sebring, her ex-boyfriend but close friend, and the Folgers, the Folger, and everybody basically was there that was murdered on the property. They basically, with Sharon going after Charles Manson, ripping his spiritual body to shreds over and over and over. And that's what she did. And the people that he's tied to himself, they're basically going to suck his energy out. And he's having health problems, and, it's been, 13 or 15 years, and he looks like he's like fucking 80 years old. They're basically gonna take his energy and kill him. Slowly. That's what happens when you do stuff. You don't play with the dead. You don't. Anyways, I love you guys. I'm tired. Please just understand. I'm trying to just explain some things to you, and I'm sorry that everything is so fragmented, okay? Love you guys. Bye-bye.